Trying different effects actually brings about a good edit. So today we are going to be experimenting on different ones that I saw recently. We have our base clip here. It's just him, feeling so sleepy so early in the morning. And we will start with adding an adjustment layer, which is Control Alt Y. On this adjustment layer, we are going to add the pre-existing effect that is inside After Effects, that is called Fog Lights. This one here is made up of fractal noise, levels, and tritone. Of course, tritone is what is giving us the color of this fog. And levels, it's what gives us the brightness and the darker areas. Adjusting these will also help adjust how the smoke here looks like. The fractal is what is building the smoke itself. So that is like a base of what we have. For this specific effect, that looks beautiful. We are going to do something just very simple. We just go for the blending mode on the fractal noise, and we're going to be setting that as overlay. But you realize now it's like everything is all gone, and we've ended up making this clip into black and white. I mean, it does look nice, but that's not what we're trying to do, right? So you go to the adjustment layer and set that to screen. You see now we have the color once again, and we have the effect going on here. You see that bit of smoke moving around. You can also adjust the levels depending on how the clip is. Let's see if we can reduce the whiteness a bit. But we still have, you see that we can still appreciate that bit of motion going on. Next thing we're going to do is also add another adjustment layer. Control Alt Y once again. And let's try out the mood lighting. Mood lighting, we have different ones. Let's see what streaks. No, that's kind of look that we need. What about digital? It's giving us too much blockiness, so also remove that one. Finally, let's try Amorphous. Yeah, Amorphous looks very close to what we were actually doing. And for this one here, you notice that it actually gives us like darker spots. Okay, in case the effect is like too strong on your clip, good thing is to just reduce opacity. This is the adjustment layer that initially had the fractal levels and the tritone, the one that had the smoke. So let's reduce this maybe 70. We can do 70 here, and this one also, let's also do something like that, because we don't want it to be like super dark. So we have the darker areas, then we have the brighter areas. It gives a very nice look. Then Control Alt Y once again, and let us now play around with Scanlines. Scanlines, you can actually do so much with them. You can either have it like super thin and make it give this digital type of look. Let's say if you ended up masking him out and then giving him this and then add a glitch to it, so it looks like he's glitching out on of existence. Or we can just reduce the frequency. We can just pull that out, and then let's do an angle shift so that the light at least comes from this side. You can see the light is coming from the right, so we'll have the brightest point there. And then the sharpness, we don't want that extra dark line there, so let's reduce that a bit. I can go with I think around 0.35 to 0.5 is good enough, so I'll just go with a 0.4. That will be nice and clear. I think for this clip that is enough. We don't need to darken anything else or brighten anything else, because this is already too bright. But in case you will have a clip that requires more brightening to make the specific subject stand out, let's just add it here and then we'll remove it. That is Hotspot. You see, with Hotspot here, and then let's reduce the threshold, it's making this brightest part, the brightest part of the clip, to actually pop, and then the darker ones are getting darker. If that's the kind of effect or the kind of look that you want, you can also do this. Maybe let's just add that for the looks, but it's quite dark. It's just reduce that a little bit, something like that. But let's make it a bit lower. So after we have this, we need to add our lighting. You can either use spotlight, the 3D lights. Let's add another layer. And an interesting light source that I saw is one from Uni. That is called the Uni Knoll Light Factory. This one he had very, very beautiful ones. So instead of action sci-fi, we have cinematic. Cinematic has very, very nice one. Maybe I can have something like this and then put it here, because that is like where the light source is, somewhere here. That is cinematic. You can do that. You can also have a motion graphic light. Motion graphic light here is giving us a bit of an edge. Let's move it so that we can see that, the one that has an edge. Something else we can also have is natural light. So this is like the sun. Maybe this one is actually more preferable because it looks like the sun. And then we can either use any of these numbers, 35 or 85. 35 or 85. I feel like 85 works really well for this scene. And then we can change the color. I want a bit of orange, a bit of yellow, make it look like afternoon kind of look. So we have something like that. Let's just render it out and see how it looks. You see how clean, how nice that looks like. We can actually even adjust the brightness of the flare to increase the brightness at that point. And then if you want to see the huge difference that we made, let's just select all those adjustment layers and hide. See, that is the difference in the clip. This is how it originally was, and then this is how it is now after all the adjustments have been made.